The book of Daniel is one of the most exciting but also puzzling of the books of the Old Testament. It's listed among the minor prophets, so-called, but it's not clear whether it really belongs with books like Hosea and Amos and those other ones. It seems to come at us from several different angles, and indeed it seems to be a combination of different kinds of book that seem to have been put together probably over a period of time, with an original core that maybe goes right back to the time of Daniel himself in the Babylonian exile, but then with lots of interpretative material that's been added and developed, particularly to address some of the issues that were vital for the Jewish people in the 2nd century BC. We'll come back to that. In particular, unlike almost all the rest of the Old Testament, not quite all, some of Daniel is in Aramaic and not Hebrew, like most of Genesis to Malachi is in Hebrew, but here is a bit of Aramaic, which is a language that has come into the usage of the Jewish people really from the time of the exile onwards, and for reasons which scholars have all sorts of different explanations for, and I'm not going to back any one of them in particular. From chapter 2, verse 4, through to the end of chapter 7, we find that's in Aramaic, whereas the rest of the book, chapter 1 and the beginning of 2, and then chapters 8 through 12, are in Hebrew. But if it's a mixture of language, it's also a mixture of genres. Several bits of the book are basically heroic tales, particularly tales of near martyrdom, moments when it looked as though some of God's faithful people were going to be killed for their refusal to compromise, and then were extraordinarily rescued at the last minute. But then towards the end of the book, it becomes clear that there are real martyrs in view as well, probably again the ones of the 2nd century. And so the book develops around these heroic tales, tales of God's people who are determined, who stick with their loyalty to the God of Israel, even under great threat.